hear me? Good. I'm here instead of Barbara. Barbara actually started this, got the whole ball rolling with Mark and Dussel's. And I really feel like she needs to be here to add more to it because this was sort of her personal baby. But anyway, I'm very, very pleased to be able to have the honor to introduce Mark to everyone. And the first is just a major, major thank you for what your company has done for our plant sale. Everybody that's clapping has been one of those people who have been out digging, and you've saved us a lot of muscle ache and pain. The other thing is, I think I, as just a consumer in the area, have always enjoyed going up to Dussel's. It's always been a nice trip, and when I'm there, I see, you know, other than the gardening things, I see everything in a store that makes me want to buy. And so the flowers that are here on the table came, and he'll tell you more about that. They came from there last night. And so anyway, Mark and I had a conversation last evening because I just really wanted to know the man behind all of this. And I just have learned so much just in our side conversations, and I think tonight you're going to learn a lot, not only about him in the community, but also some things that are coming in the future and how the business is run and the service that he gives to our area. So without further ado, Mark.
Thank you very much, everybody. The plant sale was great for everybody.
Yes.
Worked out good.
Yes.
Okay. Happy to do it. If Barb was here, I wouldn't have to talk so much. To be quite honest, it would be very little for me to say. She's been great. I met her before her house burnt, and then when her house burnt, then we redid it, and it's been good. She's a wonderful, wonderful person, and I'm very fortunate to have met her and to do this. So just to kind of jump into this, we're going to kind of touch base on me a little bit, okay? I was 26 when I started the business at Dussel's. My wife and I bought the store. Didn't have any idea what we were doing, okay? Was basically a dirt farmer, vegetable farmer, got into flower business because we couldn't get our vegetable plants grown for us because I wasn't large enough. So then we got into flowers, and flowers kind of took off, then got bigger and bigger and bigger, and the vegetables kind of got smaller. So that being said, the industry has changed tremendously since 1990 to 24. And things that we did back then we don't do now, because potting soil is not soil, it's soilless mix, and it's mainly, you know, sphagnum moss is the driving force behind that. And where that comes from is above the Arctic Circle, okay? They're up in the tundra, they harvest it, it's basically a 4-week harvest time that they have. They harvest a lot of it, send it home. There's 2 actually companies that do it. But it's getting more and more expensive because it's gonna run out because they can't keep going. So now we're going to coconut core and different things and trying to figure out what soil to use, or what mix to use for soilless mix. So that kind of touches base on that. The industry needs to get more green. We'd really like to get away from the plastic trays and the plastic pots and all that kind of stuff. Anytime you can reuse like you guys do is great, because it's less carbon footprint for everything. So, now, let's talk a little bit about invasive species. Anybody know anything about anything like that? Okay. I'm sure this lady has seen a lot of changes of things that was never here when I was a kid, and now we have, you know, Japanese beetles, you know, and Japanese beetles are now, they're starting to hatch, they're coming out, okay? So, on that, a lot of people buy the traps, and you know how the traps work, right? Okay, traps work very well, okay, but give it to your neighbor, because that's, wherever you put that trap, that's where it's going. It's used with pheromone, and they work extremely well. Hang them far away from whatever you're trying to protect. I've seen people hang them right over their rose bush, and they get decimated. So, that's a little bit on that. The other thing is, you know, integrated pest management, using a spray to keep things, you know, there's a threshold. When you see one, not really time to spray, but you see 2 or 3, it's time, you gotta spray. I was telling her about carbaryl, which is 7, everybody's used 7.
Yeah.
Okay, 7 is no longer really available, we don't have carbaryl anymore. They use a pyrethroid. It works okay, but, you know, read the label and spray it in the evening. Best time to spray for bugs for your garden is after supper, okay? Bees are gone to bed, everybody's going to sleep, but it's there. The chewing insects are usually coming out at night in the evening, so you're getting to spray them, but like all your pollinators and stuff have gone home to rest.
Or they're not at all.
Huh?
Or they're not at all.
Or they're not at all, they're not around, so. And that's why a lot of times you see the fruit guys, they're out in the evening spraying, because that's why. So, and the wind's laid down, that's the other reason too. So, they get to put it where it's supposed to be. So. Any questions on integrated pest management? No? No.
What about just a sprinkling of 7? Can you, at what time of day do you do that?
It's, like I said, it's best to do it in the evening because your pollinators are going home. And
Okay.
so, and sprinkle 7 dust is, you know, if you've got old 7 dust, it's carbaryl. And carbaryl is one of the ones that's worse on the bees, on the pollinators. So, yeah.
I still have the.
But-
I have some 7.
I love 7, okay, I love carbaryl because it actually works. Pyrethroids are a little on the weak side for me, they don't have much strength in controlling insects. But, pyrethroids do work, so.
Is there a name for that product then?
Yeah, they call it 7,
Oh, okay.
they just took it away.
Just, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
they just took away carbaryl because they don't produce it no more. So, it's one of them things that the EPA has decided that it's more damaging than good, so. But there is some things still out there that still have carbaryl in them.
Okay, so that's a plan.
Yeah, that is an important thing too, and as far as storing your stuff and where to keep it and what you're doing with it, all that stuff, all your chemicals. Yes,
With cabbage, is it best to use a powder or a spray?
spray is actually my preferred method because you can cook. You really want to try to get the bottom side and the top side, and if you're dusting, it's really hard to get that bottom. So, and there's actually a specific one that's used for cabbage worm, okay, and cabbage moth, that works, and it's jumping out of my head, I can't tell you what it is. Starts with a D.
Do you have it at your?
Yeah, I do,
Okay.
yeah. And it actually comes in a liquid form and you can actually spray it very well. It is very good on chewing into insects, you know, worms, caterpillars, that kind of stuff, bagworms, all that.
Does that work with potatoes then too?
Yep, it will take care of Colorado beetles, so, leaf hoppers as well. Any more bug questions? Okay. That's like, anybody grow knockout roses? You have trouble with it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The beetles get
The beetle get them, okay, and some days you come outside and all the leaves got holes in them and you don't see nothing on them,
Right.
okay? And it's the biggest issue. It's actually a little tiny green worm that you can't even see, okay? A systemic is the best way to control that. There's a tree and shrub, Bear has it, we sell one that's actually a fertilome. It was actually designed for emerald ash borer, for ash borer trees, but it will say tree and shrub drench. Put that on, when you trim them down in the fall, put a dose on, and before they start to leaf out in the spring, put a dose on, and that'll suppress it quite a lot.
You mean in the ground or on
Yeah,
the seeds?
on the ground.
On the
It's actually a systemic, so it has to suck up in the plant. So once you see it, it's real hard to put the drench on because it's not coming up in the plant fast enough to take care of the problem.
So what do you do now, then?
Right now, the best thing to do is use your 7 dust or that, so, or spray. And it's, when I say spray from the bottom, because you really want to get that bottom side of that leaf, so. 'Cause
So
you'll-
if we have a plant insect issue and we cut a sample of
Cut a
it and
sample
bring
off,
it up,
bring it up,
and somebody at your place
Yeah.
will be able to.
Yeah, they'll call me.
Oh, yeah.
When you're talking to somebody.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
do, they just, and that is the best way to do it. You can also take a picture of it, bring it on your phone, you don't have to necessarily bring in a sample, you can take pictures of it. Most everybody has a smartphone now or some way of taking a picture, so.
So what plants are they attacking?
Knockout roses, that's the biggest one that's causing everybody trouble. I mean, at the college, I had a lot of them, and I gave up. I mean, I literally gave up because I can't keep it off there. And it's really, you go, say, north of Hudsonville, up north, we don't see the problem as we see it here. And I don't know why that is. And I don't know if the winter's just not hard enough to kill these things off or what, you know? Because before, 10 years ago, I didn't have this problem. Because we also do lawn maintenance, so I see firsthand what people's problems are, and people come to me with issues like this, so.
What's a good spray for regular roses? Your regular tea
The-
roses?
Same thing, same thing. And I'm not a dust fan, and the reason why is I like to join my roses to look like roses, not dusted. I go to a lot of houses and they're covered with powder, and I'm like, you know.
Yeah.
So, and years ago, they used to make dusters, you know, there's probably one in here, you'd put the 7 in and it would actually blow. And the reason they did that is so you could blow up the bottom of the plant, so that it would stick on the bottom and the top, and it wouldn't be so heavy on the plant, so. And they used to make them for the orchards too, they put that in there and it'd be a duster that would dust that carpet all over. But spray is my choice. The same way with your yard, I won't name names, but the box stores sell, you know, granulated fertilizer with weed feed, okay? It's real hard to get a whirl of fertilizer to stick to a clover leaf and the chemical work. So my suggestion to everybody is spray it. Either buy a hose-on sprayer to spray or use a liquid, because it's real hard to get that fertilizer to stick on there.
Do your whole lawn with that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, spray it with, you're basically using 2,4-D is what you're gonna use. Been around for hundreds of years, I mean, so, and it works extremely well to clean your yard up for
And the name again of that is
just 2,4-D,
240.
2,4-D. Weed Be Gone, you know, there's 100 names for it. You go anywhere, you can get it. We sell it, so. Any fertilizer questions?
When you're doing all this spraying and dusting and everything, what about pets?
Pets,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Read and follow labeled instructions, but most stuff, okay, like if you're spraying the 2,4-D, even glyphosate, which better known as Roundup, okay?
Mhm.
Roundup is safe about 30 minutes after you spray it, okay, and it's dry. It's not gonna affect anything, so, and Roundup is a contact herbicide. It's gotta touch the plant to work. I've seen people spray their driveways where there's no weeds and just keep spraying, just keep spraying and keep spraying. It's not doing any good except making somebody rich, you know? It is contact only. We have a weed now called mare's tail, okay, that everybody's spraying Roundup, and it's the weed that sticks up, and you sprayed it with Roundup and it didn't do anything. The top of it, very tip of it might die, and then all of a sudden it branches up like this, okay? Glyphosate will not kill it anymore, okay? There's two theories on that. One, it's resistant, okay, that it's developed a resistant to the product. And my theory is I think they made it so it didn't work anymore.
What's the name of that one that
That's
does?
glyphosate or Roundup. That's
Mare's tail.
mare's tail, yeah.
Plant is mare's tail?
Mare's tail, yeah. You'll, when you drive down the road, you see a field of beans, you'll see it sticking out there all over the place. That's what you're seeing all over the place. But those are no longer Roundup beans anymore because Roundup doesn't kill them, so they've switched to a Liberty product, and that does kill them.
How tall is that weed grow?
Like this. But I mean, I'll get a picture for you, so you can see it. It's about so high, it's just got leaves on all
She's got a
sides. Yeah,
picture.
she'll get a picture, so. And so what I'm saying is if you're doing your driveway, okay, or the spot along the fence, and you're buying Roundup, or glyphosate, whichever product that is, okay? If you take the 2,4-D that I'm suggesting you buy for your lawn, you put 2,4-D and Roundup together, now you've got a grass killer and a broadleaf killer together, and you can take care of that problem, okay? And you're gonna have a little bit of residual with the 2,4-D and the stuff's not gonna come back. A lot of times people are spraying their driveway 3-4 times with the spray because it's not working. So that's one of my most common things. I get these guys that come in and they go, I've sprayed my driveway 4 times. I'm like, okay. Because we do sell a product that's called Roundup, or it's called Killzall 365, which is glyphosate, 2,4-D, and Trefline together. It's 3 products in one, which is a yellow, okay. Spray that on, it's once a year, takes care of the problem, the weeds don't come back.
It's still used at nighttime.
No, I mean, yes, it's best because there again, 2,4-D moves, it'll turn into a vapor and move. And I don't know if anybody's heard about the dicamba issue. They have a dicamba bean, which is a 2,4-D bean because of the mare's tail. They use it, Nick Totsky, a couple people, they raise tomatoes, different things, and that stuff will drift and it'll move around and settle on that plant, kill that plant over there. So if you do it in the cool of the evening, you're not gonna have the drifting issue. Any more weed questions? What's
Well,
that? Okay, yeah,
I've got a climber creeper kind of plant, and it's like taken over one area of my lawn,
okay.
and I think it's got 5 leaves on it.
Mhm.
How do I get rid of that?
Yeah, it's probably woodbine, okay? Try to track it back to the source, to the stump, cut it off. And if it's like all over, 2,4-D will take care of that.
Again, with the
Because,
pets.
yeah, well, because if it's a broadleaf, and 2,4-D is a broadleaf herbicide. So when I say broadleaf, it's got a wide flat leaf, okay? Grass has got a pointy thin leaf. So just remember 2,4-D is for broadleaves, Roundup or glyphosate is for grass, basically. Does not work good on woody perennials.
Okay.
Yep,
We've got a lot of potatoes growing in this area.
yep,
I've noticed in the past years, after they grow so long, they come over with a crop duster and spray them and kill the vines.
yep.
Is that to make a better potato or just to keep it from getting too big that they didn't want a big potato?
The chip guys will do that from trying to keep them from sizing and having them hollow heart, okay? But the other aspect of it is they do that to spray them to make a harder skin, so that they can pick them at certain times.
Is there a good time to do that after they blossom? Or,
There is, when 2 weeks before you're ready to dig them is the ideal time to do that. But they basically use like a salt to kill them, because there's really, we used to use a product, I can't even remember what it was called, that would desiccate it, and that's, the reason we did that is because we grew pea-sized potatoes, and the skin was really soft, so we'd spray them 2 weeks beforehand, so that the skin would get hard, so we could run them through the harvester.
I've always waited till the vine to die itself
Yeah.
before I dug mine in the
That-
garden.
That is the best way to be, in all honesty.
I wondered why they did the commercially, why they sprayed them.
Commercially, it's to aid in their harvest time, because I would hate to think how many acres Walters probably grows, probably 30,000 acres.
Yeah,
So they're in Missouri and all over,
there's a lot of them.
there's a lot of it, yes. Anything else, question-wise? Okay, got a lot of eyes here. Spotted lanternfly, has anybody heard of it? Okay, has anybody seen one? You've seen one? What'd you do with it? Okay, did you call anybody?
I did.
Okay,
I reported
they
it.
come
It
out.
wasn't around here though. Where
Okay.
were we?
I can't remember.
Tennessee? Okay.
Tennessee, there you go.
Did you
Yes.
check their luggage on
Okay.
the way back?
But if nobody knows what spotted lanternfly is, please Google it, look for it, look in the paper and find it. If you see one, basically call somebody and let them know that you found it. Because what it is an invasive species. It's really hard on grapes, stone fruit, all that kind of stuff. And once we get it, we'll have it forever, kind of like emerald ash borer. The more we can keep an eye on it and keep it from moving, the better off we're gonna be. Hopefully it will get some kind of parasite and die, but I
Is
don't
it
know.
a fly?
It's a
or-
fly, it's a moth,
It's a moth?
it's a moth.
Is that the one they've been talking about, it's in Ohio?
Yeah.
Is that
It's
what that is?
it's in Ohio, yep. It's actually came from Pennsylvania to Ohio, down southern Ohio, Tennessee,
I
Kentucky.
listened to a garden show, you were talking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they said it was on its way over.
Yeah, and once we get it, all our grape growers and peach growers, all the stone fruit, cherry people, anything stone fruit is gonna be hard to keep them out.
Where did it come from?
I think that is an Asian bug again. So that's China, it's just like emerald ash borer. Emerald ash borer came from, I can't remember if it was Korea or one of the Asian
More like
countries.
a lumber and.
Come on, yep, and actually emerald ash borer came in some shipping crates for car parts. And they got it in Detroit first and then it moved through everything, so.
Have you seen jumping worms?
No, I have not seen one.
You haven't, you don't have them here down, you know what I'm talking about? Yes, jumping worms? They're an invasive thing, they go and chew up the soil. Never heard of them?
I've never heard of it.
Haven't you? They're around. I thought maybe you heard of them and we got them.
Well, there's 47 different invasive species in the state of Michigan right now, so. And probably the worst one is the Asian longhorn beetle, okay? And you'll drive down the road and you'll see somebody have a really nice maple tree in their yard and they've got these big long dead things in there. That's what that's from.
Oh.
So, and and they attack a lot of different hardwoods, and that's from that. The other thing we have is oak wilt now. Oak wilt, if you've got an oak tree in your yard, don't trim it until it's cold in the wintertime, because you won't spread it, because if you get it, the oak tree will just die. And that's a bad one. Any more?
Wait, so that oak wilt is in this area?
Yes, oak wilt, yes, it is.
And what would be the first sign?
You'll start to see the leaves start to wilt, and literally the whole tree will start wilting, and they'll just lose its leaves and it'll die. And the problem with oak wilt is it goes down into the tree, into the roots, and goes everywhere. So if you've got oak trees in your yard, it will kill them all. If one gets it, they'll kill all.
Better than the white spruce.
Yeah. What's that?
It's better than the white spruce.
Yeah. Yeah. And there again, the mountain pine beetle is one of the reasons why you're seeing a lot of dead pine trees, and why we're having all that issue. One of the reasons they had all the wildfires out west, because the pine trees all died and dead pine trees burned.
Well, I don't think that, aren't they spruce rather than pine?
Well, yeah, they call it a pine
Yeah,
beetle.
but they're spruce trees.
Now, if you're blue spruce and that kind of stuff, blue spruce had needle end cap. And we got quarantined on that, because the needle end cap, it basically, all the needles fell off and killed the needles.
Well, if your white spruce are contingent, if they touch, apparently, because we haven't planted a lot of white spruce, and a lot of little seedlings came up.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I took those seedlings and planted them, 20 acres away, where we wanted them. Now, they are still alive, but all the ones in the yard are dying
Died.
because they all touch, all the branches are touching. And they start dying at the bottom.
Right, and it just
All you've got to put a little switch
yeah.
up on top.
Probably the last 5-6 feet.
Pardon?
Probably the last 5 or 6 feet still kind of got color to it.
Yeah, yeah, but moral of the story is don't plant one species.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, that is a good moral.
Make plant a variety because something might live.
Well, there's, like I said, so many new things have been introduced here, and that'll touch base on this next thing I want to talk about is when you're picking a plant for your garden, okay, know what you're buying, okay? Really know what you're buying. 25 years ago, I sold a plant called communion plant, okay? Had no idea what it was, it was pretty, looked nice, okay? It was a ground cover, had a little heart-shaped leaf, had 3 different colors to it, okay? We sold it for 2 years. All of a sudden, the next year, they told me, you can't buy that no more. I'm like, why can't I buy that no more? They said, because it's invasive and you can't get rid of it. To this day, I'm still fighting this plant, okay? And it is very vigorous. It basically runs underground, it'll run into people's house, and it's terrible. But 2,4-D will kill it. It's about 3 applications, but it'll kill it.
Was it still just as pretty?
It's still just as pretty, but there again, I know what it does now, so, and that's why I say, Japanese knotweed, that was brought here as, an ornamental. It is the worst thing in the world, you can't kill it. That takes a lot of 2,4-D and a lot of sweat to get rid of it. So.
Oh, like my snake plant.
Yeah.
I bought 2 plants. I had plants coming everywhere.
Trumpet vine, don't
I
plant
killed
trumpet
the
vine.
snake
Yeah.
plant.
Trumpet vine.
Coming up.
The other one is Asian bittersweet, okay? Does anybody know anything about that?
No, I grew up with bittersweet on
on the fence rows.
Right.
And, but now there's Asian bittersweet that's different than
It is
the
very
old-
different, it doesn't bloom very well, it doesn't really bloom at all, but it will cover your house with no problem. So-
And I could see people being tempted to buy that because the old bittersweet's so hard to come by. And I think now in some states it's endangered,
Yeah.
but.
We sold trumpet vines, different colored trumpet vines for several seasons. And, well, probably more than that, probably 10 years. And then once I figured out that it moves and just keeps going, then I said,
You
okay.
can't get rid of it.
You can't get rid of it, so.
It grows faster as you go on.
Right, It does. And so that,
Get it started.
that's
But
why I
hummingbirds
said.
like them.
Oh, yeah, they do, they really do.
When that vine covers the whole house, how good of an insulation factor is that?
That's a good thought. That goes to, a lot of people, you know, they want wisteria vine, okay? Wisteria vine's great, but plant it somewhere away from your house and away from your buildings because it'll cover your, I mean, there again, that's another one,
I would
so,
say it would help in the cooling season.
yeah.
Aren't there two kinds of bittersweet? Isn't there one that's invasive and the other one is not?
Right, that's the Asian bittersweet,
And that's the one I bought at Fernwood.
probably, yes.
And I can't get rid of it.
Right.
Can we see your
It'll
house?
come up faster. Under the driveway and everything.
And then, there again, I deal with the perennials that you guys sold, most of them come from a company, a grower in Iowa, okay? They are very good with their native species and very good with non-invasives. The bittersweet they sell is actually a native bittersweet. There's a male and a female. They put them both together. I do it about every 5 years, get 50 plants, you know, plugs and sell them. But I don't recommend it for most people. I sell it to some people because they want to grow it for crafts or, you know, they have a spot, they just have to have it, so.
What about native plants? You talked about those. Are they, there's more and more of a movement towards people
There's a
using those.
lot of people looking for natives and they want natives to help with pollinators. And there again, some of the native species are not native for us, okay? So we gotta watch, that's why I'm touching on this, watch and know what you're buying, research it a little bit before you know, plant might look beautiful, but not right for here, so. So that's why I say, do a little research on what we're buying. Most of the stuff I buy, the ornamental stuff, it really doesn't jump around, you know what I mean? So we don't have no problem with that. But some of the native stuff that's called natives, and see, that was one of the things about the one I was telling you about, the communion plant was supposed to be a, you know, it was supposed to be native to somewhere, and we brought it in, and it's like, holy moly, you know? It was terrible.
So it's pretty much up to the consumer then
Right.
to know.
I try to not buy things. Water lettuce, anybody's got a water garden, water lettuce in Michigan is basically prohibited to have. But I put in a pond last year, a guy wanted water lettuce, and I said, I won't give it to you. And somewhere he got it, I seen it in there the other day, and I said, you know, you're really not supposed to have that. Because we do get inspected, we do have a plant inspector, they come around, check what we have, what we're selling. So, and then he charges me to do that.
Do you start any of the plants yourself?
Yeah, oh yes, yes we do.
I know we was up there earlier in the spring, man, there's a lot of.
There's a lot of
these
that.
little cans, it looks like.
Yeah, there is, there's a lot. On perennials, we fill right around 12,000 gallons. So, and that's all done by hand, but I mean, I've got friends that, you know, they fill millions. But I like my operation, I don't want to be like that. So. Hanging baskets, we do right around 4,000 hanging baskets. And 6-inch is probably 15 to 20,000 6-inch, and then somewhere around 25,000 5-inch Dussel cup size pot, which is a 5-inch pot. So,
How many greenhouses do you use?
7.
In the spring, you see a lot of flowery trees, you know, in the wooded areas.
Yep.
Are those, what are those, the wild pear or not?
Well, there again, ask me for a Bradford pear, I won't sell it to you.
Well, that's why I don't understand, because I understand that those Bradford pears can produce needles that would puncture a tire.
They don't have a thorn on them.
No,
on a Bradford.
but don't they propagate them somehow? So
They
that-
they propagate seeds that just, because they have a little pear on them like that. And down around the South Bend Airport, there's thousands and thousands, thousands of Bradford pears.
Why are they allowed to be sold if they,
Well, that's kind of like dandelions, they weren't here in the United States.
well, but,
I think they come from China.
But I think they brought them in and they didn't realize how well they were. And there again, probably the original variety, because there again, when we as plant growers and plant breeders go, they try to make it easier for themselves and easier for the consumer. They want a plant that's very vigorous. So probably what they did, they selected, and then this one variety that they did on, because this Cleveland Select, you know, versus Bradford pear, and Cleveland Select is the one that really is the one that produces so much seeds and so many babies. And they don't come up in your yard, but they come up in the neighbor's woodline, you know? And the birds will translocate them all over the place. Because they love this, they love this stuff.
They're very pretty.
They're very beautiful trees.
And I know Mishawaka has banned them too, so.
The whole entire state of Indiana is banned it. Michigan is yet to do it, but I do contract work for MEC, the power company, work with their arborists and work with them guys, and I believe in what they say. They say don't plant them, so I'm not planting them. Of course, they don't like red buds either, but I still sell them, so.
well, what about the wild honeysuckle, it's just in the woods, under the road?
Wild honeysuckle, if you can get rid of it, get rid of it, because a lot of it's.
You can pull it up when it's young, but you can't pull it up when it's big.
Yeah. And autumn olive is another good one.
Oh, that one's terrible.
Yeah.
That's what I saw it.
I think you better cure your whole property.
These are the invasive species.
It's tax-based.
There's actually a product called Toradon. I don't sell it. You can get it at Rural King and some of the other stores. They do sell it. Comes in a little squirt bottle. You can actually cut the stump, spray it, it's blue, it'll kill it. So, and that works extremely well. So, same way with a lot of little saplings, you know, you're cutting off that mulberry tree because you can't dig it. Buy some Toradon or stump killer. Yeah. You use the magic word tree of heaven. The tree of heaven is a Leonard moth magnet, okay? If they find that, they'll go to that. So that's a good place if you're looking for them.
I got them across the road.
I think maybe we better ask you, what should we put in our yard?
That's what I'm saying. A lot of stuff is fine because it doesn't move. You know, you don't have hostas coming over there or here, so hostas are great. A lot of stuff is not bad. It's just that touch base on that native thing. When we start talking natives and stuff like that, is when we start, there's a line there saying, okay, it's native, but native to where, okay? And what does it do? What's, you know, I bought a grass because I really liked it, because it had, when it bloomed, it looked like a little grasshopper on the end of it. Well, I didn't realize, there again, that thing seeds like crazy. It's native to western Illinois, Iowa, the prairie states. Well, it does well here in Michigan too, but, and I thought it would stay in a little clump. Well, I plant a clump in somebody's yard because it has these little grasshoppers on it. Well, the next thing I go back 2 years later and it's the whole flower bed is that. So, I don't like traveling grass. I like it to stay where it's supposed to go. And some of the ornamental grasses are that way too. Halem's not bad, but there is, I can't think of the name of that one, but it's one we use halem, but we don't use the other one because it does move, it moves as well. So, and there again, it's on the native list to somewhere. But it does what it's supposed to do. It propagates, and most of the natives will propagate very well. So just remember that if you're looking at natives, okay, where am I sticking it? Because more than likely, I'm gonna have more than one. I'm gonna have a bunch of them.
Isn't there the strawberry bush does
Yeah.
the same thing?
Yeah.
I mean, I had it all cut down, and now there's 4 foot sprout, you know. Where I cut off one, I got 2 from it.
Start all over again. They mutate.
But it has little cute little strawberry flowers on it.
Fertilizer question. When you're starting your plants, does anybody know how to pick the fertilizer you're gonna start with?
Roots, right?
Well,
Root stimulators?
fertilizer's NP and K, okay? So when you first start out, you want the front number low, middle number higher, back number pretty much same as the middle number, close. Later on in the season, you go higher front number, which is your nitrogen, lower middle number, lower back number. So, but the higher the front number, you're starting to build more acid. You'll drive the pH down with that. So, but like on your lawn, you know, 4600 is straight urea. A lot of guys use that. It's a little hot, so they go down to like 32%. So this time of year.
You talking about grass?
Grass,
fertilizer?
even your flowers. Okay, everybody's used Miracle Grow, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
No, I like Osmocote.
Okay, there again, Osmocote, okay.
Biotone, do you like,
What's that?
do you like Biotone? Have you ever heard that?
Yeah, Biotone,
I
I know
use
what that
that
is.
when it starts.
Yeah, mhm, that works very well.
What did you say about Osmocote?
Cheese, you know what Osmocote is? It's fertilizer coated with plastic,
Oh.
okay?
Plastic.
With plastic, and it's layered, okay? And each layer basically degrades at different stages. Miracle Grow, which is Stearns, which is part of Syngenta, part of kinda, anyways. They developed this, they tried to put it in bags in your soil, okay? Because they would say it has Osmocote in the soil. Doesn't work well because it's controlled by heat and water. So if the moisture in the bag and the temperature of the bag, it'll start to break down. So a lot of times when you go to buy that, it's fully charged, okay? And it can mess it up. That's why they don't do it anymore. You know, they'll say they have a subcharge, which they do. You know, it's not very much fertilizer. But Osmocote works extremely well. I use a ton of it. I use one called NutriCoat because I don't want to pay them, I pay the other guy. You can buy it for 3 weeks, 4 months. It's however you buy it that way. So, but Miracle Grow, I say that because how many people know the number in that package that's on that box? Did they ever look?
Shame.
Okay. And the reason I say this is a lot of people like to grow big petunia hanging baskets or big petunias, okay? Petunias like acid. They like the ground more acid. They do not like, you know, a high pH. They want a lower pH. So if you use meracid, okay, which is the blue box of fertilizer, on your petunias, you'll get better results. Petunias, a lot of times, you'll see them, they're going yellow, and people are throwing water at it, and they're going, I don't know what's wrong, I don't know what's wrong. In your soilless mix, okay, it holds really nothing, okay? If you run water through it, all the fertilizer comes out the bottom, okay? So you're trying to feed it, and if you're just using the water and feed once in a while, it's run out, usually if you run the water through. So they start to go yellow. Osmocote works very well because it's time released, okay? So if you put in 2177 for your petunia, you're gonna have better petunia because it's actually gonna lower the pH of the basket, and the petunia will be able to get the fertilizer out. So, and they respond good to haircuts too. Yeah. That kind of touches base on like marigolds. Marigolds like a higher pH. A lot of times you'll see them yellowing in the pack when you buy them. Okay, it's because the pH has got, you know, too low for them. They can't get fertilizer out, so a little lime on your marigolds works well.
What happens, let's say that it's spring, we go to the market and we buy a beautiful basket of flowers, petunias, you know, and we bring it home and then we just see it start deteriorating. You know from what you said earlier, that growing compound is just stuff and that all of our nutrients are going out of it. What's the best thing to do for all of us? Do we take it out, put our own soil in?
You can. Worm castings work extremely well.
So you take it out and,
You can actually just put them on the top.
oh, okay.
The biggest thing for me is soilless mix. Soilless mix has a wetting agent in it, okay? I forgot to water my basket, okay? That's the one thing I see a lot. Then you come home and you water it, water goes straight through. What is wrong with this dirt? This dirt they're using is terrible, okay? Because what it's done is it's dehydrated so much it's pulled away from the sides of the basket, the water's going right out. There is a hack you can use. And when I say hack, it's just something I've come across and somebody's told me. The best wetting agent to do that is 2 dribbles of Dawn Dussel, and I mean drip, okay? And a gallon jug of water. Put that on your hanging basket, okay? That'll re-wet that peat moss, and then we'll be able to take up water. And just remember, it's 50% water, 50% air in your basket. So you don't want to feed a starving person because you'll kill it. Same way with a dried out basket. You don't want to give it too much water. You'll ground it. So if it's dehydrated and you got water running out the bottom, gallon jug, 2 drips of Dawn Dussel with a duck on the front, not the other one. Okay? Not the original Dawn, not the antibacterial. Okay, the blue Dawn, and just 2 dribbles. That's it.
That's good.
And put it on there, because that'll rehydrate your peat moss. Because I don't know if anybody's ever used Canadian peat moss, brought it home in a compressed bale, put it in a wheelbarrow and tried to put water on it, and it floats like crazy.
Yeah.
Has anybody seen that? Okay, it literally floats, okay? It's great for picking up oil slicks. You can put it out there and it'll suck up the oil. It'll float right on top of water, okay? And that's why I say it has to have a wetting agent. All the potty mix that you buy, whether it's Stearns, whether it's whoever brand it is, they actually spray it with a wetting agent so that it'll get wet, so it'll take up water. Because true Canadian sphagnum moss is dry, and it'll stay dry for a long time. It takes forever to get hydrated.
What about putting in, if you set the basket in a, let's say, a tub of water?
Tub of water, you can do that.
Okay.
And then, that's great. It will take a long time. It'll float, okay? That basket will want to float. But that goes back to the point where we don't want to stick him in a bucket of water and leave him there because we'll drown him, you know what I mean? So, but that has been one of my best saving points, has been the little trick with the Dussel.
When you put it in and fill it up with water, then you don't need to shake it up, or you need to shake it up?
doesn't hurt to just agitate it a little bit. You don't wanna shake it too much, you'll get a little bit of bubble action and you don't.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering,
Right, and
'cause-
then you just really just wanna dribble it into the pot, and that'll help water, wet that peat moss.
With Miracle Grow, can you put too much on all summer long, or should you just do it once at a time, or
When
what?
you come to my store, all my baskets get fed every day. Every time the water comes on, the fertilizer's in. Because there again, I said peat moss doesn't hold any fertilizer. It doesn't, it won't hold it. If a girl goes in there with straight water and waters it, it runs right out the bottom. They call it leaching. ECs get too high in a basket, we turn on clear water, we run it until the fertilizer's gone. And ECs are basically just soluble salts, which that's what fertilizer is.
Is that very good for potatoes?
Miracle Grow works extremely well. There's actually a product that Miller's makes a really good foliar feed. Most of the guys, they use
So you're
Miller's.
gonna have a ton of it.
When you fertilize it, do you do it week if you do it every day, or do you do what it says to?
I have an EC meter, it looks like a little pin. About every other day, I check my injector to make sure that I'm getting on the right amount, which is 150 parts per million.
Huh.
And I dip that thing in there and then punch the button and it'll tell me what it is. Then I gotta do some monkey math, because they don't make it so that it says 150. We have to divide and subtract it.
Well, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, well, I don't know why they don't make a pin that just tells you how much it is, but they don't. They have, it literally goes in 100,000s. They used to have a saying in Kalamazoo, you know it's spring when the ditches run blue in Kalamazoo. Because Miracle Grow, when you put it in the water, you know it's blue. And the reason they do that is they dye that, and that coloring is in so we know what's in there, so that we know that the fertilizer's in there. So, same way as anybody's ever spread fertilizer on their yard and their spreader's yellow, okay, they spray that on there so we know that that fertilizer, what it is. So, because regular straight fertilizer has no dye in it. The only one that has it in it is the broadleaf killer.
Somebody told me that when you want good lush flowering plants, flowers in the summertime, that every other fertilizing that you would do, and they put theirs in big like gallon trash containers. There would be regular Miracle Grow, and then there would be the Bloom Busters. And so they would do 1 week of the Miracle Grow, the other of the Bloom Buster then. Is that over fertilizing?
No.
No? It's
If
just
they're
what
getting
it
good
takes.
results, it's what they're doing.
Yeah.
But Bloom Buster, and this is why I say about NP and K, that, you know, N is your first number, which is nitrogen, phosphorus, and potash. So Bloom Buster, the middle number is like 48, okay? In peat moss, it's not a bad thing. It's just that's a really high phosphorus,
Okay.
okay, a ton. So, but they do respond to it.
If they're in ground.
If they're in the ground, that you're wasting phosphorus.
Oh, really?
To be quite honest.
Because there's enough in the
Right.
soil.
Does anybody compost? Okay.
Sort of.
What do you do with your leaves?
Oh, I'll throw them in the woods.
Okay. Totally money, okay? Leaves are a great source of bacteria, basically, and humus, okay? And composting leaves, and when you're digging in the garden, do you find worms? That's what you want to see. If you're seeing worms, you're doing good, which is healthy soil, which you want good bacteria, okay? My boys used to sell a product called Fish Blank, okay?
Sure.
Anyways, it was all about bacteria. They put it on the seed of the, you know, a lot of these guys tried to inject fertilizer on the seed of the plant, which the ECs were too high, which burnt stuff. It did not work out well for a lot of these big corn growers. They devised a way of getting fertilizer and bacteria to the plant quicker by doing this and not burning the seed. So But worm castings, I can't say enough about worm castings. If you
I
can
was
get them,
told, well, I wanted to spray it on my lawn in the back, because we have a dog and he eats the grass, and they said, no, I had to poke holes.
for worm castings,
Yeah, to go down into the ground.
No.
I don't have to. And those don't hurt a dog if they eat it. No.
no, worm castings works great. They're expensive, but they work great.
Yeah, well, I was gonna mix it with dirt and put a spreader in the
Yeah.
back, because we can't fertilize back there because he eats grass, so. But yeah, he told me I had to go and poke all over and then.
You can actually make it into a liquid and put it on that way too.
Oh, you can? You get, put a whole bag and put water?
Water in it, stir it up, and put it on with a watering can.
Get out your blender.
No,
Does it smell?
maybe a little like worm poop, but not.
Oh,
Believe it or not, worm castings do not smell much at all, okay? Anybody smelt the chicken litter?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, you
All
know.
right. I won't say much, but my sons do that too. But anyways, chicken litters, if anybody has ever used it, it's great for potatoes, really high in calcium.
Quit helping him.
But it smells.
Pelletized chicken litter works extremely well. But, touching on your dog thing, if you were to use pelletized chicken litter in your yard, you can get coccidia from chicken litter, okay? All right, not necessarily us, but pets can get coccidia from
What
it.
is that?
It's oh gosh, it's a bird thing where they get sick and die.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And they vomit and have diarrhea, that kind of thing.
Yes, that's what we, our
Right.
backyard is fenced in, but we don't let any fertilizer back there at all.
And that's mainly with the chicken litter,
Okay.
but chicken litter is great.
Mark, I hate to say this, but we're winding up on 8 o'clock, so how do you want to finish this up?
Do you sell it?
Chicken litter, yeah, we
Do
do.
you?
Pelletized, and it's.
You say it's good for potatoes.
It's great for potatoes. It's actually really high in calcium.
Wait a
and
minute.
And the calcium is,
How is it with gourds?
it works good on gourds too.
Good.
It's a good way of getting calcium. And if anybody knows what calcium is basically, that's like gypsum. If you got a wet spot in your yard, gypsum works extremely well to break up that clay and get that moving. And it's got a ton of calcium in it. And gypsum's basically drywall.
We're gonna start raising chickens, Ma.
Anybody got any other questions? Or have I confused everybody? Owen, what about you? Have I confused you? You've been quiet all night.
I was just wondering, I seen a thing on Facebook, trap bugs, put them in a bag, put them in a freezer, and then turn around and feed them to their chickens.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you spray and kill them, will that harm the chickens?
Could.
Starve
Could potentially harm the chickens, right? But that touches base on, you've all heard about, everybody wants to eat bugs, right? That's what they want to feed us now, okay? There's,
One other thing, I was talking to a importer of apple juice from
Yeah.
China,
yeah,
and he said he was over there in China some years back. But in their orchards, they put a little bag over each apple so that they don't spray them or anything. Just put this bag on them when they, but that's labor intensive.
he mentions that, but that's not their juice apple.
That's not their juice apple.
That's not their juice apple.
No, these are apples
They
they
sell,
ship,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah, chip all over. China, if you really research China, their average size farm is really, really small. But there's 1.5 billion of them, so it's a lot. But their farm is actually really small. I think their average farm is like under 5 acres. And food for thought for everybody. Going back to China, China has 1.5 billion people, okay? If they all eat 16 ounces, how many pounds of food is that? That's 1.5 billion pounds a day, if they only eat 16 ounces. And 16 ounces is pretty little. So, keeping our farms are very, very, it's serious. We need to make sure we keep our food going.
Do you want to talk a
'Cause I don't wanna
minute?
eat burgers.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Did you want to talk a minute, you and I had talked about the things you're putting out on social media now, your
Oh.
hints, Mr. Dussel.
Mr. Dussel, you know, I'm involved in Mr. Dussel, but the young lady that's doing it, she actually come up with the idea. I basically, on Facebook, I think Facebook, and she's doing it on Instagram or something. It's basically, she grabs me and I'll tell her, this is what you need to be telling people when they come through the door. Basically about the Japanese beetles, basically it's time to fertilize some of your plants, the stress that we have. We were actually really, really dry. It's a good time to try to take care of the dandelion issue this fall versus in the spring. Nobody ever worries about dandelions till they see them. So if you spray that 2,4-D in the fall, you won't have dandelions in the spring. So,
Busy.
Is that what it's called, 240?
2,4-D, yep,
240.
2,4-D ester.
Do you
But it's
put it in a
2,4-D, you
bag?
just, no, it's in the liquid form. Because
It's called 240,
2,4-D, yeah.
but that's not good if you have a dog to do that.
No.
Right, no, okay, I won't do it.
So,
What's that?
D like in dog.
D like in dog, yeah.
Do you spray it with a pump sprayer or?
You can spray it with a pump sprayer, you can just buy a 1-gallon sprayer and do it that way, or you can buy, if you can reach your whole yard with a garden hose, that's the best way to do it. You buy a little hose, or you buy the hose on, and it'll actually say weed be gone, or it'll say weed-free zone. There's like 10 different ones of them, and you just, it is so easy. You put it on there, you click it. I mean, my wife does her yard, so. Keeps all the clover out, all that stuff.
I'll be stopping by. I bought clover this morning.
Yeah.
240 work on.
back to this.
No, it doesn't, but lead does. Lead. On woodchucks?
Yes.
Yeah, lead.
22.
Can't get them in the
They do like peanut butter.
So on your site, you give hints, is that what you were
Yeah,
saying?
that's the Mr. Dussel thing.
Go to
that she's put
Mr.
together.
Dussel
Yeah,
and-
so I don't know where, I think you go to Dussel's and it'll be on their face, and on the Facebook. I'll be flat honest with everybody, I'm a farmer, okay? I don't do too much social media. I mean, I'm willing to talk to people, I love to talk, so.
But you have people who back you up.
Yeah, I do, and they do the Facebook stuff, and the reason why it's an animated character, because I'm not gonna hold still, but, I mean, he's got me on camera right now, but I like to, you know, yeah. And I'll, you know, tell everybody this, the biggest thing is if you've got a question, call the store, you know, ask them, and they'll take your number, somebody will call you back with the answer. So, I mean, we do that, and bring in a sample of something or whatever, you know,
Now, do you grow your own delicious sweet corn and get them there?
yes, we do.
Okay.
That we do.
Okay.
We raise anywhere from 8 to 28 acres a year. So it just
Look
depends
forward
on
to
the year.
that when you have one store.
It's coming, it's tossing now,
Oh,
so
good.
just need to get it more water to it, so.
Joyce has a question.
If you're basically a farmer,
Yes, I am.
what is your stand on these, on the seed corn and so forth that's been planted and treated with nicotinoids to kill the bees?
Yeah. That's nicotinoids, yeah.
Is that anyway?
The biggest thing, and this is the downfall of technology in the farm world of, okay, I have a vacuum planter, okay, how's a vacuum work? It sucks, right? So it sucks the seed to the plate, the stuff that's on the seed it's not necessarily the stuff that's on the seed that's getting the bees, it's the stuff that comes off the seed that goes through the vacuum, goes out the exhaust of the vacuum that's in the air now. So, and that is the true source of that.
Well, why is it not banned?
I can't answer that, probably because they have more money than we do.
And I went to the Farm Bureau meeting and I asked about it, and it was just hush hush. I mean, they wouldn't answer me. And I understand that it can be in the seed that has been treated with the, it's through the, it's not that they're spraying the seed, not.
No,
But it's the seed has been treated prior to the purchase.
prior to the planting, goes into the planter,
Yeah.
the planter.
I haven't had bees in my garden for 5 years.
Yeah. And it basically sucks that off of the seed, goes through the vacuum, and then goes out in the air.
I mean, you used to go out in the evening, you'd hear it. Bugs buzzing, and it's quiet. I don't even have any mosquitoes. You don't have mosquitoes, so you haven't got anything,
Dead trees.
And that goes to pollinators. Some of the weeds that we have, and I know I'm gonna say this wrong, there is bee, but it's not a honeybee. Okay, my buddy grows pears. Okay, he's a really good pear grower. Well, there's a mustard-looking plant. Don't know the name of it because I haven't seen it before. He actually picks it. It actually looks like rape, the seed pods do. But he actually grows it, plants it next to his pear trees because he found out the bee that comes there, which he called it a specific one. He said the bee that comes there can pollinate his pears, but the honeybees, because he rents hives, does not pollinate his pears. He has a full crop of pears this year, which very few people do.
Cold didn't get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, interesting.
I think Joyce has
Joyce
a question.
And this is just a real small vegetable garden. Question, we talk about invasive, is there anything invasive underneath too? I got these wonderful celebrity tomato
Tomatoes,
plants
yeah.
and one by one they have started dying. And
They turn them yellow?
yeah, and when the leaves just start,
Give them Rolaids.
rolling.
Rolaids.
Okay. and-
Okay,
and I
now
have used-
you're gonna laugh at that. And the reason I said that is to really just kind of bring attention to it. Your pH is wrong, okay?
Huh.
Your pH is wrong, and basically what's going on is your tomato is starving to death, okay? It starts to turn yellow, so you give it a little bit more water, something's going on, you give it a little
I've
bit
used
further-
Miracle
Right,
Grow,
and you're
but-
using Miracle Grow, and you're putting that on there. And then again, what's the number on the Miracle Grow? 15, 30, 15.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so that you got a high pH, or a high middle number.
Yeah.
And what's going on is your pH of your soil's low. And basically, your plant cannot get the food that's there out. So you need 2 tablespoons of dolomitic lime, okay? Or a good handful of Rolaids. Rolaids are calcium.
I thought maybe that, maybe,
But what
I
that
thought
does
maybe
is
something with.
because Rolaids, what it does is drops the pH of your stomach, so you're dropping the pH. So-
Can she recapture?
Or actually, you're raising the pH.
It's
Can she
me, Mr.
recapture the
Dussel.
tomatoes that she
Sure
does
can.
now?
If you do that immediately, it'll be 2-3 days, you'll see them turn around.
Okay, go wait till the
There's the
Yep, it is. You know what the definition, anybody know the definition of a weed?
Something you don't
Definition
want.
of a weed?
Something you don't want.
Exactly.
where you don't want it to.
Yeah, something growing where you don't want it to be, that's a weed.
And all our flowers at one time were a weed.
Do you have any bees, or do you have beehives or anything?
Used to have a guy that come and did bees, and his biggest thing was he propagated bees, he raised bees for hives. He made more queens to make more hives, and that's what he did. I'm very fortunate in my location. We have a big area that, and I don't know the guy's name, he's a pollinator guy, and he stores most of his bees across the street from me. I'm very fortunate. That's why my other guy left, because there was too many bees. So, I mean, he brings them in there by the semi-load, stores them there.
So you're getting a freebie, huh?
I get a freebie, yeah. But there again, we touch base on pollinators, and pollinators are not just, everybody thinks of honeybees. Honeybees are lazy, to be quite honest. Sorry to say that, they go to the easiest thing they can get. Some of the other pollinators, like the little cutting bee that he's talking about, that bee has to work a little bit harder because he's not getting the easy honey. He's getting the honey that they're getting the pollen that them guys can't get. Blueberry bushes, that goes to the point of blueberry bushes. Honeybees they're terrible at pollinating blueberries because their tongues aren't long enough. If anybody's seen a blueberry blossom, it looks like a little bell. Thing that pollinates blueberries most are bumblebees, the big bumblebees.
That's what they do. I wonder what a bumblebee would do for you.
That is a great pollinator.
What about the carpenter bees, is that a bumblebee?
No, them carpenter bees just eat my house. Basically, they drill holes in everything. So, the true story, a lady over on Calvin Center's got one of them faux log homes. She goes to Montana in the summer, she came home and she was like, boy, there are a lot of holes in there. And then all of a sudden she realized that the big pileated woodpecker decided that all that larvae in there was really nice, and they literally almost ate the house. I mean, that she had to have somebody come in and remove it, and they had to have a person come and chase the woodpeckers away. So.
I feed them, I like to watch.
Oh, no, I like woodpeckers, I mean, I'm not saying that, but. All right, let's wrap this up. Any pressing questions?
I wanna know what that flower is.
That right there, that is a Casablanca lily. And the bulb is as big as my fist. They're gorgeous. And them actually come out of Holland.
And if you rush up there, there may still be more. You had 2 big buckets of them when I was.
I grow them to cut them. That's just
Sell
because
them as cut flowers.
I'd sell them for cut flowers, but I'd still grow them if even though I just love the smell of them, I just like them. I do have weaknesses, and that's one of them.
Is it true to pull the little
Stamens off.
off
Take the
before the
sta-
pollen drops and they'll
Take the
last
stamens
longer?
off, yeah.
Because I've been doing that for
years,
years and I always went, I wonder if this is true.
I love Easter
Yeah.
because the lilies, the ladies come in and they'll see one of them and they stick their face in there. They got all of it. I literally, I force the girls to have to pick them things because that's, I like picking them off, but the girls are like, it gets on my hands. And it stains, so. But we grow several different lilies, but that's my favorite.
You had the pink ones.
Yeah,
over
I do
there as well.
have the stargazer.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, those smell
They're
wonderful.
not quite that big, but they're good size.
Oh, and they smell wonderful.
That could be a wedding, I mean, in a wedding, that'd be gorgeous.
Where I'm trying to impress my future daughter-in-law, and they're using those in her wedding. Going back to next spring for plant stuff, you know, we are gonna discuss that a little more, I think.
You have to come back.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to. I'm glad you guys had me.
Have you?
You know, I enjoy talking to everybody, and, you know, this is good for my business, it's good for everybody. I hope people will come away with something that I said. So, try not to buy Chinese garlic.
And I think we all have a few more really beautiful flowers in our yard because of the plant sale.
And there is a girl that works up there, Gloria. Johnny's, okay.
Oh, yeah.
She's great, she's a good person to go talk to, and, you know, ask questions, and she's a good resource to have.
And a hard worker.
Yeah, she is, oh, yeah, yeah.
And her sister's very
Yeah,
helpful also.
yeah, she is too. And little background on them, I actually hired their mom and dad first, okay? We all basically came out of the field and started that, but anyways, we were picking blueberries, all of us together, and then Gloria came to me, and then she was there when we started moving to town, and she's always stayed, and she's a big part of it. Same way with her sister. Her sister's come and gone a couple times,
Oh, nice.
but
But Gloria's been there for,
30 years.
yeah.
30 years.
Oh,
She's been there since basically I started, so.
Yeah.
It has been a very team effort with everybody, my wife and boys and everybody. So I've been blessed to have a lot of good people helping me.
I'd have to say, we've been up to your stores many times, just to stop and see what you got fresh or whatever, and, but everybody's always been very nice when you go in there. There's not been one person that's been rude or rude, like, what the heck are you doing here? You know, yeah, can't you see something, you know, help me, please.
If that ever happens, Gloria and Elena would get that person out of there very fast. Because they love the store and customer service is their biggest thing. You know?
well,
And we want to try to keep, we want to try to keep ahead of the box store, okay?
Exactly.
And that's what we want to do.
It's nice to help the local person.
Yeah, exactly. Because the money spent there stays there,
Yep.
comes to Edwardsburg, goes to Cass, goes to Wajek, you know. Or we put our money back in the community, so.
Well, thank you very
All
much.
right. Thank you, everybody.